Shampoos. We love them, we use them, and we need them. But have you ever wondered how it actually works to remove oil from your hair? Or how your moisturizer manages to stay smooth without separating into different layers? The answer is two things which are key in cosmetic science, and those are surfactants and emulsions. They're pretty much the backbone of most of our favorite cosmetic products that we use. Surfactants are the ingredients that help products cleanse by trapping dirt and removing it from the surface, while emulsions are what we create when we need oil and water to stay permanently mixed in certain products like creams and lotions. In the first video, we're going to dive into surfactants and what they are. We'll look at how they work and why they're necessary when it comes to cleansing and formulation. Then, in the second video, we're going to build on that knowledge to understand how we create and stabilize emulsions in cosmetic products. So, without further ado, welcome back to Seven the Scientist. Let's define surfactants. Surfactants, also known as surface active ingredients, are essential ingredients found in many personal care and cosmetic products like your shampoos, conditioners, body washes, and facial cleansers. They are also found in many household products like dish soap and laundry detergents. Surfactants have a very unique chemical structure. Each molecule is made up of two different parts. Firstly, they have a hydrophilic head, which means that they love water but they don't want to be anywhere near oil. While they also have a hydrophobic tail, which means that they hate water but loves, and I mean loves, to be in oil. The easiest way to picture surfactants is to imagine a matchstick. The head of the matchstick represents the water loving part that wants to stay in water. The wooden stick represents the oil loving tail that avoids water but is attracted to oils and dirt. This structure allows surfactants to help oil and water mix, which I'll talk about more in detail later on. In cosmetic products, surfactants stabilize emulsions and helps to lift away oil and dirt from the skin and hair, which is arguably the most important part. Next, we're going to talk about how surfactants work, and I created this little animation to illustrate what I'm about to say, so enjoy. When there are enough surfactant molecules present in a mixture, they begin to aggregate or gather together to form tiny spherical structures called micelles. The point at which micelles begin to form is known as the critical micelle concentration, or CMC for short. Inside a micelle, the water loving heads face outward toward the water, while the oil loving tails hide in the center. When you wash your skin or hair, those tails are attracted to oil and dirt. They surround these particles and trap them inside the micelle. Once the dirt is trapped, it can be lifted away and rinsed off with water. And that's basically how surfactants work. There's a few different types of surfactants, so let's break these types down. Surfactants are grouped into different types depending on the charge present in their water loving head, which can be positive or negative or so on and so forth. This charge determines how they behave in a formula. There are four main classes: anionic, cationic, amphoteric, and non-ionic. Before I go on to talk about the different types of surfactants, I just wanted to preface this by saying that some of these surfactants have quite long names. And I don't know about you, but for my time studying science, I have never really been able to pronounce the really long names. I feel like my pronunciation for a lot of things suck anyway. So this is just, if you see this happen with this, it's just a common occurrence. We move past it. You understand what I'm trying to say, and I will write it below so you read what I'm trying to say. Okay? Yay. Anionic surfactants have a negatively charged head. These are some of the strongest and most effective surfactants, which is why they're commonly used in cleansing cosmetic products like shampoos and body washes. They produce a rich lather and they are excellent at removing dirt like excess oil and makeup. However, because they're so effective, they can be quite harsh to use on their own, so formulators tend to combine them with milder surfactants in the formulas. Two well known examples are sodium lauryl sulfate and sodium lauryl sulfate. Cationic surfactants are the opposite. They have a positively charged head. Instead of being used for cleansing, these surfactants are mainly used for conditioning. They help reduce static electricity and improve detangling. It's why your hair feels smoother and softer after use because they're commonly found in conditioners and hair treatments. Examples include centramonium chloride and behentramonium chloride. Amphoteric surfactants is where it gets interesting though, because their charge can change depending on the pH of the formula. This makes them very mild and very versatile. They stabilize foam and help to boost the performance of other surfactants while still being very gentle on the skin. Because of this, they're often used in facial cleansers, shampoos, body washes, and baby products. Common examples include cocamidopropyl betaine and sodium lauryl amphoacetate. Finally, we have non ionic surfactants, which have no charge at all. These surfactants are typically very gentle and cleanse the skin without stripping away its natural moisture. They don't produce as much foam, but they're excellent emulsifiers and stabilizers, which is why they're commonly used in products like creams, lotions, and mild cleansing products. They're used in products specifically designed for sensitive skin. So now at this point of the video, we've spoken about what surfactants are, how they work, and the different types that you can find in cosmetic products. So now I have a little exercise for you guys. I implore you to go and grab your face wash or your body wash from your bathroom and have a look at the Inky list to see if you can spot any of the surfactants that I mentioned on the list. So now, let's look into what surfactants do and how they actually function in cosmetic products. The most well known function of surfactants is cleansing. As we discussed earlier, surfactants create micelles that trap oil and dirt. The oil loving tail binds to oils and dirt, while the water loving head interacts with the water, which allows everything to be rinsed away. However, they take on many other jobs, not just cleansing. Surfactants can also create foam, solubilize oils, provide conditioning benefits, and form emulsions. So let's take a closer look at some of these, shall we? One role surfactants play in many personal care products is foam formation. If you're using a product that lathers, it almost certainly contains surfactants. That's not just limited to shampoos and body washes, even toothpaste has surfactants. Foam forms when air becomes trapped in a liquid, creating bubbles. Surfactant molecules arrange themselves around these tiny air bubbles, helping stabilize them so the foam doesn't collapse too quickly. From a consumer perspective, foam plays a big role in the overall experience of using a product. However, it's important to remember that foam itself doesn't determine how well a product cleans. A shampoo or cleanser can still work perfectly well even if it produces little lather. Instead, formulators focus on selecting surfactants that produce the right kind of foam for the product that you're using. Me personally, when I'm washing my hair, I like to be drowning in foam, but I think that's just because I like bubbles. So that's that. Surfactants also play an important role in solubilization. Normally, when oil and water are mixed in a formula, they form an emulsion which tends to be opaque or cloudy in appearance. But sometimes a cosmetic scientist wants a formula that remains completely clear, while still containing small amounts of oil based ingredients. These surfactants break oil into extremely tiny particles that are so small that light can pass through the solution. Since the particles are so small, the solution remains clear rather than turning cloudy. A helpful way to picture this is like dissolving sugar in water. Once the sugar dissolves, you can't see the individual particles anymore, but they're still there. In a similar way, solubilizing surfactants disperse the tiny amount of oil so evenly that the formula remains transparent. They're commonly used to incorporate certain ingredients like fragrances, plant extracts, and essential oils into water based formulas. A well known example is polysorbate 20, which helps to blend oil based ingredients in clear products like facial mists, toners, and micellar waters. Surfactants can also contribute to a conditioning feel of a product. As surfactant molecules have an oil loving portion, they can sometimes leave a very thin layer behind on the skin or the hair. This layer can improve how the hair or the skin looks, often smoothing it or softening it, which makes it easier to manage. For this effect to occur, some of the surfactant needs to remain on the surface after use, and it also needs to be mild enough not to cause irritation. This is often achieved by leave on products like conditioners and lotions, or by using surfactants that can attach to the surface of the skin and hair through electrostatic interactions. These surfactants attach to the surface and continue to provide conditioning benefits even after the product has been rinsed away. Finally, surfactants play a key role in emulsification, which leads perfectly into the second part of this video. While cleansing products remove oil, many cosmetic products actually do the opposite, where they're designed to deliver beneficial ingredients to the skin and the hair. So now that you understand what surfactants are and how they actually work, the next question is, How do cosmetic scientists actually keep oil and water mixed? Because it's common knowledge that oil and water do not go together. And that is where emulsions come in. In the next video, we're going to talk about emulsions in all of their glory. Aside from speaking about what they are, we're going to look into how they're stabilized and why they're so important when it comes to cosmetic formulation. Well, that's it, lads. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now, and I'll see you at the next one.